The morning had been chaos, pouring rain, a missed alarm, and a late meeting. In her rush, Emily Harper barely noticed the small blue flame under her coffee pot. She grabbed her coat, locked the door, and hurried down the hallway, unaware that her mistake would soon invite something far more dangerous than fire. As evening settled, the apartment building grew quiet. Only the hum of electricity and the soft rattle of wind filled the hallways. Inside Emily's flat, the gas hissed faintly, steady, almost rhythmic, as if breathing. By midnight, the flame had burned itself out, but something else had ignited. The air thickened. A faint whisper slithered through the rooms, carrying the sound of her name, Emily. When she returned home past midnight, tired and soaked, she immediately smelled something strange. Not just gas, but a sweet, smoky scent that didn't belong. The lights flickered when she flipped the switch. Her cat, usually curled on the couch, was hiding under the bed, growling at the darkened kitchen. The burner knob was still turned to on, yet no flame flickered. Emily reached for it, but the metal was ice cold. The refrigerator hummed louder, then stopped. Silence. A single click echoed behind her, the sound of the stove reigniting on its own. She froze. The blue flame burned again, but this time it reflected two faint silhouettes on the tiled wall. One hers, and another taller, standing just behind her. The air felt alive. She turned slowly, heart pounding. Nothing. The figure was gone. She twisted the knob to shut off the flame, and the light died instantly, along with every bulb in the house. Total darkness. From somewhere inside the apartment, the whisper came again, closer this time. "You forgot me." The smell of gas thickened, and the flame, unseen but alive, flickered one last time. It was a quiet Sunday evening when Tom Riley, a retired postman, stepped out of his flat for a cup of tea. That's when he smelled it, faint but unmistakable, burning. It wasn't the usual scent of overcooked dinner. It was darker, heavier, like something old catching fire. The smell drifted from apartment 4B, where Emily Harper lived. Tom frowned. He'd seen her leave that morning with her bag and umbrella, rushing as always. He knocked lightly on her door. No answer. He knocked again, louder. Still nothing. But from inside came the faintest sound, like footsteps dragging slowly across the floor. "Emily," he called. "You all right in there?" A pause. Then a faint tap from the other side, as if someone gently tapped the wall instead of answering. Tom stepped back, unease growing. The smell of smoke thickened. He called the fire department, pacing nervously in the hallway. Within minutes, the building echoed with sirens. 2 firefighters arrived, axes ready. When they forced open the door, a thick fog of gray smoke poured out, not from flames, but from something unseen, like the walls themselves were exhaling. The apartment was cold, freezing, despite the warmth outside. Every burner on the stove was turned to off, yet one ring glowed, faintly blue. "Strange," one firefighter muttered. "Gas is off at the mains." Tom peered inside, trembling. The smell of burnt cloth stung his eyes. Then he noticed a photo frame on the counter, melted slightly around the edges. It showed Emily smiling, but behind her, in the reflection of the kitchen tiles, a dark silhouette loomed. The firefighter called out, "Miss Harper? Anyone home?" From the far corner of the smoke-filled room, a whisper answered softly, "You shouldn't have opened the door." And then, every light after the incident, Emily Harper couldn't sleep. She'd moved out of her apartment for a few weeks, but the memory of the flickering stove haunted her. To calm her nerves, she installed a smart camera system before moving back, something she could check from her phone at any time. Safety first, she thought. The first few days were peaceful. Nothing strange. The kitchen looked normal again, clean, quiet, empty. Emily even started cooking again, carefully turning every knob twice before leaving the room. But one Thursday night, as she sat at work during a late shift, her phone buzzed with a motion alert. Kitchen. Movement detected at 8:04 p.m. Her stomach tightened. She opened the app. The video feed loaded slowly, just the dim kitchen, bathed in the pale blue light from the refrigerator. Everything looked fine until the camera's timestamp flickered and a faint click echoed through the speaker. The stove knob turned. By itself, the burner ignited with a low blue flame. Emily froze, staring at her phone. A moment later, the video glitched. The image blurred, then refocused, and behind the kitchen counter, she saw movement. A shadow, faint but tall, drifting near the doorway. She rewound the footage. The same thing happened again, but when she paused the frame, she saw her own reflection in the microwave surface and another face right beside hers. Panicking, she called the building manager. He checked the apartment in person 15 minutes later. "Nobody here," he said over the phone, confused. "Gas line's fine. Everything's off." But even as he spoke, Emily watched live through her camera and saw the same blue flame rise again. The stove knob turned slowly, deliberately, as if someone invisible was showing her the replay. Then the app crashed, replaced by a single message flashing on her phone. You left it on again. By now, Emily's story had reached her building's maintenance office. Residents complained of flickering lights, strange odors, and an odd humming sound in the walls. To ease everyone's fears, the management sent Richard Cole, a veteran gas repairman, to inspect the property. It was a gray afternoon when Richard arrived at apartment 4B. He'd read the report. Possible leak, recurring odor, electrical interference. Routine work, he thought. But the moment he stepped through the door, the temperature dropped. The air felt unusually heavy, as if the apartment itself was holding its breath. He unpacked his digital gas detector. The screen flickered, scanning the air. The number spiked, then plummeted. "Strange," he muttered. The main gas valve was turned off, yet the detector still picked up movement. Not just chemical readings, but vibrations. He crouched near the stove, listening. The faint hiss of gas came and went, but beneath it, there was something else, a low, rhythmic pulse, almost like breathing. Richard placed the detector against the wall. The machine began to click rapidly, faster and faster, then stopped completely. Dead screen. He tapped the side of the device, and a thin whisper seeped out from the vent behind the oven. "Richard." He froze. "Who's there?" No answer. But the tiles beneath his feet vibrated softly, pulsing in time with the whisper. He knelt to check the floor vent and saw something move inside, shifting slowly like fabric underwater. The smell of gas thickened, sharp and metallic. He staggered back, grabbing his radio. "We might have." A loud clang cut him off. The stove ignited in an instant, the blue flame roaring to life. Shadows twisted across the ceiling, forming a human-like shape, head bowed, whispering through the gas line itself. The voice was calm, almost grateful. "Thank you for letting me breathe again." The flame extinguished. The room fell silent. Richard's radio crackled. It was 2:33 a.m. when Emily's phone rang, jolting her awake. The screen flashed with her building's security alert. Fire alarm activated. Apartment 4B. Her heart raced. That was her old flat, the one she'd sworn never to return to. Without thinking, she grabbed her car keys and sped across the empty streets. The city was silent except for the distant wail of sirens. When she reached the building, smoke wasn't the first thing she noticed. It was the open door. Her old apartment door, swinging slightly in the draft. She stepped closer, the hallway dim and humming with static. "Hello," she called, voice trembling. "Is anyone in there?" No answer, just the faint, rhythmic ticking of the stove burners. Emily pushed the door wider. Inside, the apartment looked exactly as she'd left it, except for one detail. Every burner on the stove was lit with a small, steady blue flame. The smell of gas and something burnt, hair maybe, clung to the air. Then she saw it, a figure standing near the kitchen counter, too tall to be her reflection, too still to be human. Its head tilted slightly toward the flames, as if listening to them whisper. "Who are you?" Emily asked, voice shaking. The figure didn't move, but the flames dimmed, their color shifting from blue to an eerie, sickly yellow. Then came the sound, a faint whisper carried through the air vents. "You left it burning, and I never left." Emily stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. The figure turned its head sharply, its face briefly illuminated by the light. Hollow eyes, black as soot, and a faint smile that wasn't human. The alarm screamed again. In panic, she slammed the door shut, but from the other side, a slow, deliberate knock followed. 3 knocks, then a whisper through the door. "You came back, just like the fire." By the following morning, the story of the haunted stove fire spread through the neighborhood. Firefighters had finally entered apartment 4B after the latest alarm. The blaze was contained quickly, small, isolated to the kitchen. Yet the scene left even the most seasoned investigators uneasy. The stove had melted into a distorted lump of steel and glass. But what caught everyone's attention were the handprints, charred into the wall above the counter. 5 of them, large, misshapen, and clearly not human. Chief Inspector Harris stood in silence, his flashlight gliding over the blackened tiles. The handprints weren't random. They formed a pattern, almost as if someone had pressed them in sequence, trying to speak. Forensics couldn't explain it. The gas line was sealed, the ignition switch disconnected. Yet the official report listed the cause as spontaneous ignition of residual fumes. No one bought it. When Emily arrived later that afternoon, escorted by police to collect her remaining belongings, the entire apartment seemed frozen in time. The air still smelled faintly of smoke and something else, sweet like burnt sugar. As she passed the ruined stove, her phone began to buzz in her pocket. A notification from the home surveillance app she'd forgotten to uninstall. Live feed activated, kitchen camera. But the camera had been destroyed in the fire. The screen glitched for a moment, then displayed a live image of her standing exactly where she was inside the burned kitchen. Only this time, in the video feed, someone stood behind her. She spun around. Nothing there. A whisper emerged from the blackened wall, faint but clear, a voice she recognized. "You shouldn't have tried to put me out." The stove's metal shell suddenly clicked, once, twice, and the melted knobs turned slightly on their own. The ashes on the wall shifted, falling like dust, forming 2 words that glowed faintly red. Still burning. 2 months passed since the fire. Emily Harper had moved across town to a newer, brighter apartment, one without gas, one with only electric appliances. No flames, no whispers, no memories. She told herself the past was gone, burned away with apartment 4B. For a while, she almost believed it, until one night, 8:07 p.m., exactly, she smelled it again. The faint, unmistakable scent of smoke. Not fresh smoke, but old, tired, lingering smoke, the kind that clings to walls long after the fire's gone out. She checked every corner. Nothing burning. The oven was off, the windows sealed. Still, the smell thickened, seeping in from the air vent like a ghost she couldn't keep out. Then came the ticking, slow, metallic from somewhere behind the wall. Tick, tick, tick. She pressed her ear to the plaster, and her voice, muffled low but familiar. You left it on again. Her heart nearly stopped. The air grew colder. The stove in her new kitchen, electric disconnected, clicked on. Its red light glowed without power. On the glass surface, steam began to rise, forming shapes, smoky outlines of fingers pressing from the inside. Emily stumbled back, grabbing her phone, desperate to record what she saw. But the screen froze, displaying the same app she'd deleted weeks ago. The live feed from apartment 4B appeared again. The burned kitchen was visible, but this time the camera slowly turned toward the door and showed her standing there in her new apartment, staring back through the screen. Her reflection moved, but she didn't. The whisper came again, echoing through both rooms, her old one and her new one. You left me, Emily, but I never left you. The stove light flickered, then went out, leaving only darkness, the faint smell of smoke, and a single glowing word written across the glass. Return.